Hey everyone, Michael Hughes here with PCS Home Realty. I'm here with Amberley, also with PCS Home Realty, and we're starting a new channel where we're talking about property management, real estate, everything that we do in our business, and all the info that we want to share with our clients and just anyone in our industry that's really curious about what we do. So today we're making our first video, and we're going to talk about how to find good tenants for your property. It's probably one of the most important things that you do as a property manager or a property owner, and it's really going to determine whether you succeed or fail in the rental real estate business. So Amberley is going to take it away and just kind of explain the process of what we do for property management and how we're able to find success doing that.
So a lot of people ask us what's the minimum criteria we look for in our tenants whenever we're doing the screening process. So a lot of other companies will look at minimum requirements like your minimum credit score, minimum income, if you have a criminal background, things like that. Certain things we do have a hard and fast rule on, but we try not to put specific parameters on it so that we more so look at everything as a collective and not individual pieces. We try and look at the whole picture.
We don't really have like a specific credit score because a lot of applicants, they'll have sometimes a lower credit score, but if they have other compensating factors, the main thing that we're looking for with a person's credit is just to make sure that they're going to be a trustworthy tenant and they're going to pay back the rent. Obviously a great credit score is nice to see, or even like a decent credit score is going to be good, but we don't have like, oh, you have to have a 620 or above. It is like one indicator of a person's creditworthiness, definitely. But it's not like the end-all be-all. For example, if the person doesn't have any credit, but they've had a successful rental history for the past 5 years, that would be something that we would take into consideration.
Right. So the thing that we put more weight into, aside from those statistical items, is more so their background. So we do actually call their past landlords and ask, did they pay on time? Did they leave the property a mess when they moved out? Did they always call for damages or repairs? Things like that to get a bigger picture on how they were as a tenant, because that's a really big sign of how they're gonna behave in your property and how much work it's gonna be on, you know, not necessarily your part, but on our part as well, because we wanna get good tenants in there that are gonna be good, repeat, pay on time, don't give us any problems, which if they don't give us problems, that means you don't have any problems and likely very little to no fees for repairs and things like that.
So in addition to looking at the person's credit and their income, the other part of the screening that we do is actually looking at their criminal history to see if they have any criminal background. And really, we're looking for things that are gonna show that they're not really a trustworthy tenant, like if they've stolen things before, for example. It really kind of depends on what is on the record. Preferably, obviously, no record is the best. Pretty run-of-the-mill stuff that, you know, we would still recommend that person renting, but we do a full like criminal background check with our screenings as well, and we really recommend that for pretty much any landlord.
So one of the other things that comes up on the background check is also their eviction history. So that's one of the biggest things that we're gonna look at. If there is an eviction history, we're probably not gonna recommend you to rent to them just because common sense. If they did it once, they're probably gonna do it again. That's probably the hard and fast thing that we do look at that we don't have any wiggle room on. The other thing, going back to talking to past landlords, is we wanna hear what they say about the tenant specifically. We want them to volunteer good info and say, oh yeah, so-and-so, they were a great tenant, they always paid. They always have good things to say without needing it to be pulled out of them. So that's probably the most important thing as far as finding out about the tenant and making sure that they're gonna be a good fit for your property.
Yeah, exactly. And really with all the screening that we do, we take into account like all of the factors that we just discussed. You know, we're not doing this like in a very automatic fashion. We're actually taking the time to find out who the person is going to be in the property, looking at every aspect of their application and making sure that that person is going to be a good fit for that property. And with this, we've really been able to weed out like 95 to 99% of any problem tenants and really reduce like any problems or any costly items for our landlords and for us as well as landlords. And one more thing on this too, so we actually are landlords ourselves. We have properties here, we rent them out, and we do the same thing that we do for our properties for our clients. So any property owners that are have their properties being managed by us, we're going to recommend the same screenings that we do for ourselves. We're going to recommend the same tenants that we have for ourselves, and the same processes as well. It's really like trying to be favorable to the landlord in a sense, but also just making sure that we're getting someone good in there and we're not just kind of checking the block and throwing anybody into your property because we want to get it rented out quickly. It's better to wait a little bit to find someone good than just throw the first person in there that maybe has some questionable stuff.
Yeah, and that's the good thing about this market is just with buying and selling, there's a shortage of homes, so we can afford to look through 2 or 3 or 4 different applicants and find the best one. Like Michael said, it's not a check the block thing for us. We really want to get the right person in there on the first try, so that it cuts down all the headache for everybody else through the entire process. Because you have to keep in mind, you're keeping this person for a year minimum. If anything goes wrong, you know, let's say an eviction, nobody wants to deal with that. So that's our motivation, you know, not only to make you happy, but to eliminate all the headaches. So if you do the work up front, you know, no matter how long it takes, it's worth it in the long run.
Yeah, and really once you get good tenants in there and your property's cash flowing, you know, minimal issues, that's really when you're going to start to enjoy yourself as like a property owner.
Yeah, you see the benefits.
You'll really start to see the benefits after that. So that's the topic for the day. And we really wanted to share this one. It's probably like the most important topic, the most foundational for your journey as a landlord. We're gonna be covering other topics with property management and just real estate in general moving forward on this channel, but hope you enjoyed that one. If you guys have any questions about managing your property or being a landlord, feel free to reach out to us, PCS Home Realty and Property Management.
If you guys like the content, please like and subscribe for future, what? Hold on, let me do that again. If you guys like the content and the videos that we're doing, please like and subscribe to the channel for all future content too.